fantastic.
Yes, and we have officially started the second podcast. We did it. We did it more than
Woo!
once.
That was a fast 2
It was a
weeks.
fast 2 weeks. I don't know what happened.
It flew by. It just flew by like the balloon.
Yeah.
Jenna.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh my
So
gosh.
yeah, this we talking about balloons, talking about finding love on Discord, and we'll sprinkle in some things about the music industry here and there. And I
Yeah.
will try and be as coherent as I possibly can for having 3 hours of sleep. So, rock
3.
and roll.
Were you stuck in Ukraine again?
Yeah, they flew me out there last night. I came in and just bagged me, and then I woke up in the Ukraine.
He's got a class in Kiev every other week.
Yeah.
It's quite difficult to get
But no,
there. But
it's been an interesting 2 days, or not 2 days, 3, 4, something. It's been an interesting couple of days. I had some really busy days here at school, and then Friday I left after classes to go visit a friend. Then I went home, stayed at home for like, I don't know, 12 hours or something. Then we went to a concert in Maryland, which I got to see Red, Mammoth, and Alter Bridge, which was spectacular, man. Absolutely killed it. Alter Bridge, I was so happy to get to see them. They're like my favorite band ever. First time I've gotten to see them in 8.5 years, 9 years. They absolutely blew the roof off the place. I mean, they just sound awesome. Mammoth, I know a lot of people when they were first coming out were talking about like how the whole band just like kicks like a mule sound wise, and I was like, I don't know. I mean, they're not that heavy or whatever, but like seeing them live, it's so good. 'Cause, I mean, you've got the 3 guitars because they got Frank, John, and Wolf, and they maximize that. Like when it's like the big chords or whatever, they all hit it together, and then you got Whitlock on the drums and he smacks the living crap out of those things.
They dialed his kit in, like their production and their whoever their sound guy is. It's just I've only seen videos, so I can't even imagine like seeing them live. I know you guys saw them live.
Yeah. I got to go to his first show at the Granada in Lawrence there. One of their test shows as they were getting ready to go out on tour.
I'm sure that was awesome.
It was incredible for the first show. I can't imagine. I mean, I'm sure they've gotten tighter and tighter as they've toured
It was
together.
so good.
I want to go see them because they're opening for Metallica in 2024 in August at Soldier Field. I want to go to the one. It's them, Pantera, Metallica.
Yeah, I want to go to that too, man.
And I'm gonna lose my shit. I mean, I don't know how I'm gonna get tickets, but I want to.
Yeah, that would be an incredible show. But yeah, they're fantastic. I was happy to see that they finally moved John up to the front. He's no longer relegated to the back corner of the stage. Poor guy. Paid his dues, I guess.
He needs to be up front, man. He's a lot of fun.
His voice is so good, man. Love to see Twim one day. Unfortunately, they just play Texas. But yeah, that was good. And Red was okay. I just want to see more of them because it's like 6 songs, and they didn't play like Feed the Machine and then breathe into me until the last 2 songs, and that's like when it really started to kick in. The first 4 were like, okay.
Was it like newer stuff they were playing in the beginning?
No,
or?
They didn't play any new stuff. It was just
their last record was actually pretty heavy.
I really like their last record. They played was it Faceless, Feed the Machine? There was another song off the Red album, Until We Have Faces. I can't remember the name of it right now. It's a slower one. And then they played Breathe Into Me and whatever the 4th track on their debut record.
Oh
I don't
man.
remember it. I'm really bad with
Oh,
names. This is the bad thing about listening to albums sequentially. I don't pay attention to names, so I could tell you what order they are, what track number they are. I can't tell you for the life of me what they're called. And then they play the opening
nope.
track from the second record.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I hope that they do a headlining tour with the new record. That would be awesome. Love to.
I've seen them in a couple of headline tours. Um, they were touring with a lot of Christian rock bands. Or this is like 10 years ago,
Yeah.
but they they were so massive sounding. But I know that they use a lot of backing tracks.
Well,
So,
I mean, they
but
have
I
to
don't know if
with.
you could tell,
I
but
mean, it's really just the synth and the strings that they do. Doesn't seem like I was surprised considering they only have uh, Randy doing guitar now. They don't have another guitar player. That I don't
they
think
haven't for years.
they did on the last tour actually last year.
Oh, really?
They had a guy fill in, but he wasn't there for this one. Um, but it looked like he was doing like a looper or something, so it was actually playing it, just having to layer it time by time. But yeah,
Yeah.
I don't mind when they do. I mean, it's very unrealistic to bring a orchestra on the road.
Yeah, it's a lot of money and a lot of
A lot
That's
of
a lot of nope.
yeah.
the sound guys are probably like, well, you have to have assembly halls for that
Yeah.
stuff if you want it.
No way they were fitting into the small little Fillmore, and that place was packed though. It was sold out.
That's awesome.
They sold out every show up until then on this tour.
I mean, that's a big lineup too. I mean,
I don't think they sold out tonight.
It was just them three.
Yeah, just them three.
Yeah, it's kind of nice. Lately, a lot of band like Seven Us and stuff. They've only had like two openers. You're never, you don't have to sit through like 4 or 5 bands
Yeah,
anymore.
it's excessive having.
I feel.
Any more than that. I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because I mean, at that point,
Yep.
it's just like I mean, was the opening band gonna play 4 songs and then get out? Like at that point, I don't know.
Yeah.
I do wish there was. I mean, I guess for the sake of my legs, I'm glad there wasn't any more songs, but I definitely do wish there was more. More
Yeah.
red.
I can't stand at shows anymore. Really, it's. I did those 2 Animosity shows back to back, and then the third day I was like, my back felt it the most, which is weird.
Yeah.
It wasn't my bad leg or nothing. It was my feet and my back.
Yeah, I've always had really ever since this is one track season. I ran distance, and my ankles have never been the same since. And so yeah, that's been bad. Oh man, it snowed up here, so like I ride the bus to get to classes, and it was like really
Yep.
slick. So on my way out, like my front foot gave out for me, and like I started sliding. It looked like I was doing a lunge on the bus, but I landed like on the top of my foot. So like my foot just went like that, and man, I've been feeling that for the past couple days. Did not feel good after the concert.
Dude, it's the ice has
A lot
been
worse.
crazy.
That's why I was telling you when you told me about Rach. It was like just about got me too.
Her ankle. I sent you guys a picture, right, of her ankle.
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
comes home at like midnight. She's only 2 blocks away. So like her friends picked her up. She was with her teacher friends, and then they were walking across the street to another. There's a couple small bars literally right at like next door to each other, and she went to walk next door, and they didn't see the ice. It was underneath snow, and she went down, fell on her ass, and then she was texting me my ankle hurts, and then an hour later she comes home. She couldn't even walk. I had to bring her in, and then I took her boot off, and it was just like, and I'm like, man, I was like, I think you broke it, and then I took her in yesterday. So, yeah, be careful, everyone.
Yeah. Ice sucks.
Yeah, and it's like weather can't make up its mind because it's 50 here today.
Yeah. It's like it's 62 this afternoon here.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Well, you usually get warmer weather anyway, right? Because you're in the middle. You're like right in the middle of the country.
Extremely
We just
bad.
warmed. We had snow a week ago, and then it dropped down to like, it was weird. The temperatures have been fluctuating crazy. It snowed, and then it for one day, for like 5 hours, it went in the 30s, and then it went in the sub-zero temperatures, and now we're in the 30s and 40s for the next week or two.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah,
Chinese balloons.
It's the balloon fault. I mean, it's
Absolutely.
just spewing out all things.
You know, why couldn't they have shot that thing down in the Pacific?
I know, right? You think they?
Why do you wait till you pass? It does all these passes, and you shoot it in the Atlantic, and then, oh, we're afraid to hurt people. It's a fucking balloon.
Well, it looked pretty big. I mean, it looks like a big balloon.
It was the size of 3 school buses, it said.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Anyway, sorry. So it's back to the balloon. That's our That's the new title, I think, for the second
Back
episode.
to the balloon.
Yeah. There you
BS Balloon Podcast.
BS balloon. That's a BS balloon flying up there.
Yeah.
Agree.
Well, what do you say we get into topic for the week? The music industry. As
God.
Ken keeps shrinking. I don't know what's.
What am I doing?
I don't know what's going on with you, but
Oh, I'm seeing it right now.
you just keep getting smaller and smaller.
Bye-bye, kid. Bye-bye.
He's flying away on the balloon.
Is this what it's gonna look like in the replay? No.
Yeah. It's all right. You're just flying away on the balloon.
Here, let me see if I can.
Fly me to the moon, right? That's what we should sing to you when you're flying away.
Fly me to the moon.
Fly away on a balloon. I don't know.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm just trying to figure out if there's a different.
We're never gonna get going.
Either that or what was it? 99 Red Balloons. Do some Shania Twain. Do a
Here, I'm gonna back out. I'm gonna back out, and then I'll come back in. Maybe that'll fix it.
All right.
You do you, man.
Okay. BRB.
Shania Twain.
All right, let me lock the room real fast.
You can do that?
I'm kidding. Yeah, I mean, I could. I won't. But.
We got. Yeah.
Oh, now Brett's big. What in the heck? It's all messed up.
It's just screwy.
Unbelievable. All right. Brett's
Check
back to
1
normal
2.
size.
Hey.
And all
There
right,
we go.
we're normal size for now. We'll see if it stays that way. Anyway, music industry. Let's get into
Yes.
it.
Oh.
I guess the leading question that we had on our notes here is, what happened to the music industry?
Napster. I mean,
it was in Kazam. Wasn't there another one called Kazam or something?
I feel like I remember that. Yeah. Something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think as a whole, computers took over. You know,
Yeah.
Brett, I think me and Brett might have more knowledge of what it used to be than it is now. So this would be kind of cool to like. I mean, Brett, I think out of the 2 or 3 of us, you have more connections in the past with, like, you know, not necessarily labels or anything, but like if you want to speak on that of like what it used to be and what, like, how it worked as far as like how labels pushed you for money and all that jazz. If you want to, we can start with where it was, how it is, and where do we think it's going to go.
As we all know, it was driven back in the day by physical music. You know, CD, cassette, vinyl, 8-track. I mean, if you want to get crazy. Back when we were growing up, it was a little bit of cassette into CD. CD was when we were really, really growing up.
Yeah. The boombox.
Much more money wrapped up into these record deals because they were making much more money off of a physical piece, you know. And it just started dying when the internet started taking off, and Napster and Kazam and you could kind of see it. Well, it's probably what 2005 to 2007 is when it really started shifting. You saw big changes in the industry with the labels. A lot of bands were being dropped, or what it went.
MP3s,
Yeah,
the iPods started coming out around then.
they had, and the thing was, I think the music industry was just making a killing so much and making so much money they weren't paying attention to, hey, this is coming. How are we going to address this? And when it did hit, everyone had their pants down basically, and they had no idea, well, how do we make money off this now? Because they just always thought there was going to be some sort of physical purchasing, some sort of CD or something like that. And obviously there still is a little bit of CD sales, but it's like this much compared to what it used to be. And I don't know. It's crazy how much it's changed, because those big record labels had a lot more money to throw at up and coming artists back in the day for developmental records, for developing that band. And this day and age, you got to kind of develop yourself and get your own brand grown and big enough to get some attention from some labels, if you even want to go that route, or any kind of management or publishing. You kind of got to do a grassroots approach these days, which is what we're doing, right? I mean, we're trying to grow this on our own. There's everyone that's not in the music industry still might think there's record deals being thrown all over the place to everybody like there used to be, and that's just not the case anymore. Not at all. So it's changed dramatically.
Yeah, and I think kind of touching back, I remember in the late '90s when computers and AOL started really getting popular, and instant messaging and all that, and then when you were able to download music,
Yeah.
where it was like it was technically illegal, but you had these programs like FrostWire and LimeWire and Kazaa. I think it was Kazaa. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kazaa was like the first one, but then it was like you were able to find leaked albums and stuff. And I remember when the whole Napster thing came out, and Lars Ulrich got a lot of crap for speaking out, but now is changed from back then, because his whole purpose was like, well, I'm not getting compensated for the stuff, even though they didn't really need it.
Right, but still, yeah. I mean,
but it was. I think he was more so fighting for the artists and being like, I think this is bullshit that you're gonna download music for free and not. So I feel like that kind of started the whole digital. I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong, but I remember he got a lot of crap for speaking out on that, and now I'm kind of like, well, I get it now, because that isn't fair. It's like, hey, paint me a picture, and I want it to look like blah 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 A, B, and C. Cool, thanks. I'm gonna make a copy of it, and then I'm gonna give it to someone else, and not, you know what I mean? Like, you're not getting compensated for it. And I think for me, what I've learned a lot from you guys with this project, how things work now, because I kind of was I was starting to lose touch with technology and how things were working, and I'm like, wow, things are very convenient, but now it's a completely different game. It's just completely different, and I forgot I was going to say something, but yeah, I think Napster kind of started that whole, oh, we can download music, and not to mention with technology taking over, and CDs going obsolete, and you see Best Buy now, they're starting to close up their doors with certain stuff, and that used to be the place. That and Target used to be the place, when we were younger, to get CDs and whatnot. So.
Oh yeah, I mean, I still remember going to get Alter Bridge CDs on release day at Best Buy. I think it was the Blackbird and AB3 record with my dad, and then we went to go get Fortress They just didn't have like their CD section was gone by then. That
Yeah.
was 2013. Is
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I mean, it was such a. I think that Napster thing really hit the, pushed it to go. But really, it wasn't until like 2012, 2013 when Spotify came along. Because then that basically, because I mean, Napster got nipped in the bud because of the free thing, and I mean, it was theft. It wasn't legal.
Yeah.
But then Spotify managed to ink the deals with the record labels, and once the record labels got in on it, they sold. Basically, they sold the artist out just to get a quick buck for themselves. Which now, looking back at it a decade later, they kind of just went ahead, dug their grave, jumped in it, and put the dirt back on.
Yeah.
Because I mean, as far as and we can go more in depth, but I mean, as far as what's going on in the future, I feel like record labels are just going to become obsolete. I feel like it's really, and I think this is kind of more of a referendum on the whole, like on the internet as a whole, is that everything's just going to kind of become decentralized, which I think it's going to be a painful process getting there. But I mean, in the end, maybe is it better?
Well, here's my theory: smartphones. Everything is revolved around a phone now.
Yeah.
Look at the camera industry.
Gone.
I mean, if you're not a photographer, you ain't gonna go out and buy a camera. It's everything's on your phone now.
I mean, even
And I'm not
photographers still use that. I
Yeah.
mean, it's really like, unless you're like a professional guy, like guys who shoot our music videos or shooting film. Like,
I feel like it totally just kicked those industries to the curb, and not in like I want to feel bad for it, but then it's like, yeah, I mean, it's convenient now, and that's why all these phones are so expensive. You got smartphones came out in about '07, '08, I think,
Yeah.
because
Yep.
the iPhone came out, and then it was all these, internet-based phones, and now it's like camera, music are basically the big two things on smartphones now that people are always on, and then the social media.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. People don't
and,
hardly.
and the phone, but
I think what the thing is with the whole, like, I mean, just technology as a whole, is it was so much change in such a short period of time. I mean,
yeah,
you think about how much of a paradigm shift it is just culturally. I mean, you go from 2007, the smartphones coming out, to like 2013, that just like the internet is ubiquitous, social media is everywhere, every job uses computers. And I mean, they were using them before, but I mean, like everything's like totally online now. Like nobody
Yep.
keeps paper anymore, and it's just so much change that happened. And granted, the stepping stones were planted for many years ahead, but I mean, it was really that 5 year gap, maybe if you want to push it 10 years, that's just like that.
it exploded. The whole digital era just really, yeah. Doctors' offices got rid of filing cabinets. Um, my when I inspect cars, it's on a phone,
Yeah.
on an app. Everything's all applications, and like, believe me, I love it. I think it's great. I think it saves so much more time than to use, pen and paper or whatnot. But
Yeah,
I don't know.
a lot.
Sometimes I'm like, it's getting too quick.
Well, you got all the benefits that come with it, and people realize that. But then you just you're moving at light speed. You forget all the consequences of it. And I guess to try and recenter this around the music thing, I mean, it's like we move from I mean, for a long time, artists wanted to get rid of the label, wanted to do things on their own,
Yeah.
which ideally, and obviously it's not going to happen because the record labels are going to have pushback, but you're going to want to have that be a gradual transition. Maybe you take merch out of the thing, then you take tours, and then you take the music, and you just kind of slowly segment it. With the social media thing, it just blew record labels up. And not only social media, but also another big thing that rocked the music industry is how we record now. I mean, the fact that
Yeah.
we're even able to do what we're doing and record remotely. I mean, 10 years ago, might have been able to do
Yeah.
it like in some infancy state, but
Yeah.
nowhere near what it is today.
No. It's
Especially not without paying,
Yeah.
out the ass for the specific software and all that.
I
So
mean,
yeah.
really, you don't need that much to record as far as like an initial investment. I mean,
Yeah.
what do you need? You need recording software, you need an interface, and you need a modeler now. You don't even need to learn how to mic amps or whatever. You just
Nope.
get a computer basically to do
Yep.
it. So I mean, that's like what, $1,000 for the modeler, a couple grand for a computer, a couple hundred for an interface, and some cables. Learn how to program
Get to work.
drums. You're set.
Yep. No, it's exactly right. I mean, when I back in 2009, 2010, I was doing a lot of work in that studio, and comparing that to where we're at now even is just crazy. I mean, because we had like a line pod like interface, but it was so digital sounding, for the guitars. Um, so it kind of worked. It worked good for cleans, distorted didn't work very well. We had mic up everything, mic up the cabs, several mics. I mean, it was a whole production going into just capturing a guitar tone, and then you're doubling it, then you're getting all the takes tight, and you're focusing on that, and that's just guitars, and then drums, miking the drums up, getting the room right, getting everything controlled and compressed, and everything EQ'd properly so everything punches and you can hear it. Now I could just plug in GGD and go, yep, and it just sounds pretty much amazing within like 5 minutes. It's crazy. It's awesome that we're able to do that nowadays, but it also, I think, it leveled the playing field to where everybody can do it now. Everybody,
Yeah.
and everyone can distribute their music too. And that's another part of it is with DistroKid or TuneCore, all the other ones, that you can go on there and you can distribute your music to all these platforms now on your own. And it's just absolutely flooding the market with everything from absolute crap sounding stuff. No offense to people, and then just stuff that's phenomenal. It's just everyone is just throwing it into the market, just absolutely flooding it. There's not really much of a gate kind of controlling that anymore, like the record labels used to do. You know what I mean? So,
Well,
Which
I think the
yeah.
gate nowadays is the algorithms,
yeah,
because that's going to be what determines who listens to your song, how many times your song gets listened. Because, I mean, it's not like people, and I'm not like saying it's a fault of a listener or whatever. I mean, you just don't have the time in your day to go and search out for bands, and you also don't, I mean, have the capability or just to look through stuff and know how to look
yeah.
for good stuff. So you get the algorithms to do it, and I mean, it's just gaming that stuff now, and that's kind of the gatekeeper.
And that's where it could get really frustrating for any musician trying to put out new music and get recognized. I mean, like our local bar here in town, they have one of those digital jukeboxes, right? Well, you can get on their app and it'll show you what songs are most commonly played at the bar. And it's just like, I just look at it and I was kind of like, everything's 20, 30 years. No one's playing anything new.
Same shit.
They're
Yeah.
20, 30, 40, even 50 years old, that they're playing. And it's the same things over and over again. And it's just like, man, how do you get anyone to recognize what you want to do as an artist anymore without paying $100,000, which maybe you have to. But the algorithms is the hard part to get a hold of that and to get people to find your music through that. Because if you're just putting out content and it's just going to get lost in the crowd, basically. So,
Yeah, and I guess we've kind of already moved, but we can talk about like where it is now. And
right.
I think the best descriptor of where the music industry is right now is that is going through growing pains, because we're having a massive transition. I mean, going from having everything based around record labels being heavily funded by that, and that basically being basically the record labels were the banks of the music industry, and now
Yeah.
the banks went under and are going under, and now you got to go make your own investments and try and navigate your way through that. And I think it's a tough thing, because you you still have the record labels exist. They still are able to pump cash in these top artists. And it's basically,
Yeah.
once the dominoes fall of all the top artists go out and do their own thing. I mean, we already see, I know this obviously doesn't pertain to us as, rock and metal musicians, but I mean, Drake, independent artist now, he runs his own thing, which, I mean, he's the number one artist by numbers on the platforms. And I mean, that's a big step, I think, in knocking down labels. And that's not to say that all labels are bad or whatever. And I'm sure that they'll still have a place in the new music industry. I mean, usually when you go through a transition like that, the old doesn't completely die out. But
right,
yeah, it's a really weird place in knowing how to get things. And then also, I mean, you got to factor in just the whole technology transition period and trying to navigate that just through life.
Yep. Well, there's so much I mean, I guess I could say so much scamming going on too. I mean, we get messages all the time on Instagram or Facebook or even emails from these little promo companies that want to push our music, and if you pay them so much money a month or something like that, they'll promote your music, and then you do a little research on the company and what they're doing, and it's like, dude, I could do this myself. You don't really have any traction. So there's all these little companies that are trying to just make a quick buck on the desperate artist that is wanting to get attention from people, and all these little companies are asking for money and all this stuff, and it's just for nothing basically. So it's, as an artist, you got to really watch, and if someone approaches you wanting to help promote your music, you got to really look through what they have done for anybody else, or their history of work basically, and what kind of contacts they might have. But there's so many fly-by-night promotion companies or whatever these days. I'm not saying all those companies are bad, but there's a lot of them that are just kind of just trying to scalp people for money, and say, hey, look, I pushed it to a bunch of fake, Spotify followers that aren't actually real. They're computer, so.
And that's the hard part too. It's like you have to fight with the bots and the spam and the
music out there that are paying for that and getting all these numbers and that kind of thing. So,
which to me, I feel like is a waste of money. I mean,
it is.
I have to be honest with our stuff. I mean, I was looking at our numbers to date, and I'm like, people are starting to come to us and go, hey, we like this. So with that, it's like we're trying to utilize all these current resources, which is great. I'm like I'm learning about all this stuff has just been like fascinating to me, because I'm like, wow, okay, we're actually getting somewhere. But the problem is there's probably another a band doing the same exact thing, and we just don't know about it. Like, even with the big tech companies, they're always changing their stuff. And I was told by multiple people, even someone from work, saying that, like, dude, I never see you on my feed.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I don't know if I have like certain amount of strikes against me where like none of my not half my content only can go out, or what, because of what I posted like 2 years ago, the whole Facebook jail shit, so
yeah.
there's like a lot of pros, and there's just as many cons.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's all about writing a kick-ass song, and someone's gonna hear it, and then people are gonna start doing this. Like, did you hear this song? Like, hey, and I'm gonna pat ourselves on the back, but I think we're kind of doing that right now. So, and only a year in, and like, it's pretty cool that we're utilizing the formula, and like, I like what we're doing. But
that's the part though, there, right? I mean, the art. I mean, we can talk to a band or even ourselves about, we got to do this, we got to get the algorithms right, we got to get in front of these people. But at the end of the day, if they cannot connect with the music, or they don't like it, all that stuff doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like, it's got to be got to be everything. It's got to be the music. The music's got to be first, right? The music's got to be how we want to write it. It's got to be quality. It's got to be what we can present the best ourselves as an artist. And then you go out and you work it, and you hope everyone else resonates with it as well. Because that's what we want as an artist. But yeah, that's what a lot of people are missing from that is, yeah, this band's frustrated, or whoever's frustrated, they're not getting all the attention. Well, maybe your music's just not that good. I mean, honestly,
there's nothing wrong in saying that, because from what and that was going to be my next thing of like, there's been a lot of people, specifically, we're part of that Serious Octane Club or whatever. Have you noticed they've been playing like country stuff or whatever, and people are just starting to get like, what the hell, and in the whole rock scene, and I guess we can kind of talk about it because it's part of the business, but I don't know where rock's going. I can kind of hear that it's starting to do this R&B, like, I feel like the stuff that we listen to, like, the boy band stuff and like the Britney Spears, now everybody's just adding electric guitars and heavy drums to it. Like, that's all I'm like hearing, and I'm not knocking it, but like when I was in a cover band, we tried doing that. Like I said, why don't we just make it sound heavy, and everybody would, it's an easy gig. But now I'm just kind of like, it's not grabbing me, because it's like, they're using the same 4 chords again, like they have been the last 30, 40 years, But yeah, I don't know. You can't say rock is dead, but like, if they're going to induct Missy Elliott into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, that's just kind of weird to me. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, that thing's been a joke for a long time. I will say, a positive referendum from the show that I went to yesterday, the Alter Bridge show. There were a lot of kids there, and a lot of like young adults too, which I thought was really cool. Because the last time I went to see Alter Bridge, like legitimately, I was probably the only kid there.
I think rock's due for a little bit of a resurgence here. Even people are saying new metal is due for a resurgence. Not saying we're new metal by any means, but there's talks of making a comeback, and I think that's probably true. I mean,
and I think that yeah, for sure. I mean, it got stale for a little bit. Like, there wasn't anything new happening. I feel like with the whole progressive movement of music, like progressive metal and progressive rock, you get, there are some bands, and we'll get with that label, like a lot of odd time signatures, weird keys, whatever. And that's not going to resonate with the average listener. But I think one of the cool things that happens from it are the bands that infuse all these different genres back into it. Like, you get jazz chords, but in a rock setting. Or, you get all these different types of things put back into it, which just expands the reach of the genre. It makes it more interesting, more appealing to more people. I think that's a really cool thing.
Well, that and the talent of players nowadays is just extremely, like, and again, it goes from all the technology resources we have now.
Yeah.
You see all these, like, Gabriel, when I heard the first solo from Suffocated, I was kind of like, how old is he? Like, I said that, like, not to make you feel weird or young or anything, but like, there's 15 years between me and Brett. So it's just like, I was like, and then, you see a kid like, Landon. Sorry.
For sure.
And I'm like,
yep.
Wow, like, and now I'm like, it makes sense, because we have all these, resources now all you need is a smartphone, and then teach yourself how to play something, and then record yourself, and then someone's going to snatch you up, So, yeah, I don't know where rock's going to go. I'm glad that like bands like Alter Bridge and Mammoth are keeping that movement alive, because to me, I feel like a band like Alter Bridge is like our current generation's Led Zeppelin in a way. I just think everything that they do is just it sounds
Yeah.
massive, and they are incredibly talented songwriters. And they still keep like an old school feel, but they still keep it fresh. So it's nice to like I gravitate towards bands like that because they are a true rock band.
Yeah.
You know, they can do it all, you know. So
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know where we're heading. So I don't know how it's gonna be. Like I know 10 years from now we're gonna be like, why didn't I think of that? And then
I think one of the weird things that people in the music industry are going to have to grapple with is how to monetize things and have to be comfortable with how many things are going to be free. Because it's a big shift. I mean, the music, it's out there for free now on YouTube. Now, granted, on YouTube we get compensation from ads, which I think is a huge help, and I think that will probably be the structure going forward for that kind of stuff, and that put some money back in the pockets. Definitely not probably near what it was for the big bands with record deals, but I feel like you're not going to see these mega large bands. Obviously, there'll be a couple here and there, but you're not going to see a bunch of them being pushed out with arena tours or whatever. It's going to be more evenly distributed. But you're gonna have that. But I mean, you also look at stuff like this. Like there are some other bands that would do podcasts or would do playthroughs or do behind the scenes videos and lock it behind a paywall. We're choosing to put it out for free. Again, you
Yeah.
get the monetization from the ads, but it's like how sustainable is that? And where do you get the ability? And I'm not saying like we need a ton of money to go buy yachts and sports cars or whatever, but if we
Right.
want to consistently do it, we need to have enough money to put food on the table.
Yeah. Yeah. We're going backwards here right now, people. So just letting you know, we're spending our own
yeah, I need enough
money, but that's okay.
I need enough money to get a robotic leg. That's how much money
Yeah.
I need.
Yeah.
No,
But
you're right though, and that's been my attitude too. Like we don't need all the money in the world, but to keep going forward, it's just kind of like you have to. It's we were kind of talking about this a couple days ago, within the last couple days, about treating this as like a business. You're gonna have to at some point, just to try to get your name out, and there's a lot of legalities and all that. So, um, like you mentioned the podcast stuff, like what we're doing. Like, look at Joe Rogan. He started that just hanging out with his friends, and then look at him now. He's got $100 million licensing deal with Spotify, and he owns everything. Like they were trying to control his the narrative of his podcast. They wanted to control the content, and he's like, "No,
yeah.
you're paying me a hundred mil." Um, I think my dog's barking. Paying 100 mil, just to put it on Spotify. So,
Right.
Yeah, and the
excuse me,
great
I'll
thing
be
about
right back. I just have to go attend to something real quick, so I'll be right back.
yeah, I mean
good.
and the thing with the podcast is like there's like if you're running a show like the JRE, it's zero overhead almost. I mean
Right.
it's literally two
Yeah.
guys. Nobody
Yeah.
else. It's not a whole company
Nobody.
behind it or anything. Um, and I almost feel like without the record labels, like bands are almost gonna have to build like small teams. Like it's like
Yep.
almost like your own record label A&R department, but for your band, or maybe you share it with a couple different bands. It's almost kind of like Alter Bridge and Mammoth and Seven Dust and all those guys are doing that with Janus management. Is like they kind of,
Yeah. Right.
at least
Exactly.
for the touring side of things, because as
Touring,
far as I'm aware, all of their deals with the labels are just for albums, music distribution.
Is merchants through Janus too, right? Or am I thinking wrong?
I'm pretty sure that's
Merch-
the case. I think the only thing
Thought
the
so.
labels are there for is just to
Distribution.
distribution, promote the music, and do like videos and stuff.
Yeah.
Which is getting to the point where you almost don't want to do the videos with the labels because they're so far behind. I mean, they're still stuck with doing a couple music videos and whatnot, whereas like now you want to do music videos, you want to do performance videos, you want to do lyric videos, you want to do behind the song mixed breakdowns. I mean, all that stuff. I mean, that's like 7 different videos that we could just put out for one song.
Yeah, if we can find the time to get it all done. And that's the thing, is it's you got to be fluid in this market.
Well, and that's why I was almost saying you need like the small teams, because it's like we're 3 people trying to do this right now, and it's, I mean, we're finding it hard pressed to do it because we also have, well, you guys have jobs and I've got school, which, you know, is like working for time but not getting paid and paying for it. But
pretty much.
But it's like we're finding it hard to do that and try and delegate the tasks between the 3 of us. I mean, it's hard, and like I had a call with Ken earlier this week because I've done most of the social media stuff just because I did it in the old band, and being the youngest out of the 3 of us, I just kind of made the most sense because I was most familiar with the platforms. But I mean I just I can't do it. I told Ken like I need help here because it's like now I'm starting to take up video production stuff, and like having to produce this podcast, edit it, also doing performance videos now rather than, I mean, before when we were doing playthroughs, like individual instrument playthroughs, it was basically just press record, like cut in the solo and then upload, like 5 seconds of editing. The performance video, it's a lot more, you know, I'm doing the camera switches, doing the transitions and stuff like that. And then there's also some other video projects that we've got in the works for future songs. It's like, that's like a full-time job. It's like you need a video editor, you need a social media guy, you need a producer, and then, you know, you got to still write music on top of all of that. So I think that's
just content. That's not like touring or anything. You know what I mean? That's a
well, yeah, and that's another thing is like, as far as like what we're doing as a band, we're doing all this stuff, but that's a whole other like component. That's like 50% of what a band is that we're just, you know, not even doing.
Yeah, at least not right now.
No, and I mean we don't have the capability to do it, being remote and all. You know, we would love to, but I mean and another thing that I guess we can talk about from like where the industry is going is like the gear, as far as like overhead on doing tours and whatnot.
Yeah, for sure.
Is way less. Like I was thinking about it the other day. Like if we wanted to just go to a show, like what would we need? We would need guitars. You would need your Kemper. I would need my QC. So like rather than bringing like 2 full stacks with Marshalls or whatever, I bring a box about yay big.
Yeah, and mine's about this.
We don't even need to run cabs. I would honestly prefer to not run cabs on stage, just so you don't have to deal with the stage sound. Makes it easier on front of house guy. But it's like you need that. You need the PA, drums.
Yep.
And then that's about it. I mean, ideally, we would probably carry around about a dozen guitars or more, just for all the different tunings. But if we really didn't want to do that, we could do pitch shifting.
Yeah, we could.
And like bring just like 3 guitars each. You know, bring some 7 strings, 6, and then a backup. Be good.
Yeah, I agree. No, it's yeah, I don't miss the days of having to lug around 4x12 cabs and all this everything, you know, and have a trailer completely loaded with all this stuff and lug it around. I mean, this Kemper that I got is just amazing. It's just amazing what it can do, and I haven't even really put it to use. As I mean, it can do so much more than I've even done with it right now.
It's the same for me. It's like, I thought it was funny. I was talking to somebody about when I like was first buying my QC, because I'd been a modeling denier for a long time, because I didn't personally, the Kemper and the what's the other one, the other big one, Axe Effects. I just didn't like the sound of them. They just were too synthetic for me. Right. It wasn't until Neural came out with the QC stuff that I was like, okay, this is finally at a level where like it sounds just like the real deal. Like I've done recordings where I recorded with a mic my Archon
Yep.
at home, and then the capture on here, I can't tell the difference.
Isn't that crazy? It's just unreal
Yeah.
what they can do. I mean, I come from the day back when I was 20 some years ago. I mean, it was like Digitech was the effects pedals, and they were absolutely garbage. They were horrible back
Yeah.
then. I remember I did a demo in high school with one of my first bands, and we went to this guy over by Kansas City, and he was a producer. He had all this equipment in his basement, and we thought it was the coolest thing ever. We're going to be rock stars. We were like 15 years old, 16 years old, just loved it. And he takes this Digitech, I think it's like a RP 250 or 150 or whatever, and plugs it straight into the board off of that thing. And that had it was not meant for that. and we just was like, oh, he knows what he's doing. And we get the recordings back, and it's just the most digital sounding, just underwater, horrible guitar tone I've ever heard in my life. It was the best thing. I'll tell you that much. But this new stuff is just so
it's so good. And that's one of the
yeah.
positive changes that's happening in the music industry is, it's going to be
Yes.
way less overhead on tours. And, just 3 years from now, there's another component to tours that's still like not progressing forward, which is playing live. Like being able to do that, get into venues. So many of these venues are locked down by Live Nation. Unless you have a contract with them, an exclusivity contract to where you can't play a single other venue other than a Live Nation venue.
Right.
You're not playing those venues, which it's a racket.
Well, now I'm hearing even some of those venues are starting to take a cut of merch sales from bands.
Yep.
It's how much more can bands handle, before they just can't tour anymore. And I think a lot of them can't. I mean, I'm hearing rumors of people having to pull back on stuff and just can't make the runs like they used to from different artists that I know. And don't even get me started on the local level of local venues and how messed up all that is. That's just a whole nother level. Hey, Ken.
Hey, sorry.
He's back.
My stepdad came by. He was driving from Minnesota, and I'm on the way back home.
Yep.
And I gave him auto show tickets that I got from work, the Chicago Auto Show.
Yep.
Awesome.
Because I can't go. It's only during the week. Employees can only go during the week. So, but there's nothing really I want to see anyway. Everything's all electric now. But anyway, what were you guys talking about?
We're talking about the live component of being a band. We talked about the effect that like these digital modelers and stuff have had on live sound, and like how like overhead for a tour would be like way less. Like for us, I mean, Brett and I would carry our modelers, which are about yay big, and a couple guitars, and we could run a show, and then a drum kit and whatever a prospective bass player would have, which would probably be a modeler as well. But it's so much less overhead, and that's one of the big positives. But we were just starting on like how locked down these venues are by like Live Nation and the exclusivity contracts, and like, man, it's such a bummer. And I think the only way that system gets changed is bands saying, like, just basically giving the middle finger to Live Nation, Ticketmaster, that whole monopoly.
Ticketmaster has been scalping and like legally scalping people for this whole, like, they're going to snatch up all of the tickets and then resell them at their own price. Is absolutely fucking ridiculous. Excuse my language, but
it's the truth.
The remember when COVID hit and people were canceling their tours? They weren't giving people money back, and people were like, fuck you. There's a pandemic going on, and they secretly changed their rules. I read about back then. They tweaked something into their policies, And it was like, well, no. They're like, oh, it's up to the artist. And the artists were like, no, give my fans their money back. Like she had Alanis Morissette tickets that we were sitting on for like 3 years.
Alanis?
Yeah. Jagged Little Pill tour, dude.
I love it, dude.
I didn't go. She took her sister, but
I don't.
I like Alanis.
God dang it!
It's like, yeah.
We have to do an Alanis cover now. That's what we should do.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Yeah. Live Nation needs to stop being so corporate and greedy, and I don't know. I'm hoping something changes with them, or they just go under, and like you say, Gabriel, like bands just give them the fuck you. No, we're not gonna.
That's what's gotta happen.
And then as far as because they've got, they own venues. That's the thing is like, they've got a 360 on the whole thing, and the fact that they don't buck any monopoly laws, I ain't buying that. Like they're paying off somebody to get by, but it's like they own the venues, they own the ticketing service, and then they make exclusivity contracts to where bands can't play anywhere else but their venues. And if you don't sign these contracts, you can't play at the venues. If that isn't a monopoly, what other ticket service is there? StubHub? If they're owned by Ticketmaster.
Ticketmaster. Yeah.
It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. And I think
and they're all service fees and stuff. Their convenience fee, which is like 35, I have no other option.
Yeah, $35 to use my own printer and my own paper.
The amphitheater here in Tinley Park holds about 28,000 people. So let's say you sell 28,000 tickets, and your service fees are, even if it's like $5 a piece. Well, who's getting all of the rest of that money? Yeah. Like so if you charge $1, well, where is that other $28,000 going? Where is you're going to charge, like it would be like, the last few times I bought tickets to go there, it was a $25 lawn ticket, and I bought 2 of them. So $50 turned into $90 because of fees. And I remember going like, well, can't I just drive to go pick the tickets up? No, they don't have anybody working there's no box office anymore.
Yep.
It's just like,
it's a scam. It's ridiculous.
But they don't tell you where the money's going. You're like, well, where's that money? Whose pockets are getting filled by those fees?
Yeah. I think the only way that it changes is that bands, like I said, give the middle finger, and then we start making our own venues and just start a network like that. And I think that's about the only way that gets done, because like I said, they have venues in every state and every major city locked down. You just can't use them. And it's ridiculous.
That's what Joe Rogan wants to do with the comedy clubs.
Yeah.
He moved to Texas. He's like, I'm gonna start opening up comedy clubs. Like, that's why I like him, because he knows the whole game, and he's got a lot of money, but he also built his own personality brand even before that. Before his podcast, he went into communications and all that. Hustling. But I think he's hustling. He's a smart guy. But I think it's brilliant. Yeah, eventually just start a union with like a big union with musicians and like-minded people that, which eventually in any sort of business model, if it gets too big, there's going to be people that want their hands in it.
Yep.
But you got to start somewhere.
Yeah, and
I think
it's something that we've talked about. Obviously, it's not like we have the funds or means to do that right now, but that's something we're doing, because I think I can speak for all of us in saying that we love music, but we hate the music industry and where it's at.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because there's just a lot of shady, quite frankly, just disgusting things that are going on.
Yeah. Manipulating the algorithm and all that, I'm not going to name drop, but certain certain artists I've seen
People would
on YouTube where it's like you get 1 point something million views, but you have 15 likes, 2,000 subscribers, and
yeah,
like 5 comments.
yeah. That's not adding up here. It's
No.
not making sense.
And I know they took the dislike button away or whatever, the dislike count. You
Yeah.
can't visually see that anymore because it was hurting too many people's feelings, but
Oh no, it was not hurting too many people's feelings. The big corps like Disney and the video game companies or whatever would just get their videos like downvoted into oblivion, so they had to take it away because of that. That's the real reason why.
oh really?
Yeah,
That's crazy.
you can actually still get it. That data's still out there. Like if you use like Chrome for a browser, you can get an extension that shows it to you.
It'll show it to you.
Yeah.
I just think it's such a sneaky
Oh yeah.
thing because that certain artist that I saw, I would love to see the amount of dislikes.
I'll
But
do
then
some
again,
research.
if like, yeah, what's that?
I said I'll do some research.
Please, please,
See what you can discover.
exposed.
Wow. Whatever.
Man, I've seen some of those that have paid for those fake views, right, on YouTube, and I've sat there and I've watched view counts and I just to see how it does. So there'll be times where it's like you'll refresh and a minute later it's like it jumps 50,000 views, right, and then it jumps like 80,000 views like 3 minutes later, and then you refresh it again and it goes backwards like 30,000 views. It's the craziest if you actually watch it and like refresh the page and kind of keep an eye on it. It's like doing all this. It's jumping around. It's like, what is going on here? This is the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life.
And it's just like either nobody's monitoring that shit, or there's just way too many incompetent people, or there's
Both.
just a lot of sketchy shit going on.
But what does that do for you as a musician, though? I mean, because you'll look at somebody that does that to one video of theirs, and it has like 1 million views, and then all their other videos have like 2,000 views.
Besides this, I have no idea.
It doesn't even do that.
It's just is it an ego thing? Like you can show your friends, hey, I got 1 million views on a video. I mean, who the fuck cares?
I think what it does is it just gives them the place in the algorithm for their ads or whatever. So their ads, because I mean, you notice the people who do that, they put out so many ads on Facebook, YouTube, whatever. I think it's got to be something with that. I also want to highlight this. I wish I could bring this up on the screen, but I'm not that advanced. We don't have that much of advanced technology here. But my lovely mother has put in the chat some nice. Hey, Jamie, pull that up. Michael Rapino, the CEO of Live Nation, made $14.5 million last year, and his net worth is $542 million. So,
hey, let's get him on the podcast, and maybe he can explain how he got to that, fortune.
Yeah, our first guest.
Yeah,
next
week.
He'll
be like, I need $1 million for that.
Destroy him right now. Let's destroy him on air.
And you know what? He probably made that off of them convenience fees.
Oh
yeah.
Only.
Oh yeah. I mean, he's not dumb. He's got it figured out.
It was $10 a person for a convenience fee. So, like, again, it used to be called the World Amphitheater. I don't even know what it's called now, Hollywood Casino Amphitheater. But when I worked there for a summer, I did security there.
Right.
It was called the Tweeter Center at the time. And they were like, oh yeah, max capacity is 28,000 to like 30,000. And now I'm like, so anybody that sells that amount of tickets, then you charge an extra $10 a ticket. I'm like, they're making a killing.
Oh yeah.
An extra 280,000 freaking,
That's the story of the music though. Someone's making all the money. It's not the artist though.
No, yeah, I think the system going forward is you need to have the venues that off of ticket sales or whatever maybe recoup what it would cost to put on the show, promote it and whatever. Band gets the rest,
for sure.
and then food and drinks. Venue gets that. That's their gig.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, as long as they're owned by the ticketing service, and I don't even think it's a bad thing that the venues have their own ticketing service. It's the fact that it's owned by a mega $1 million corporation, or probably billion.
We're going to start our own ticketing service called BS Nation, okay? That's what we're doing.
Shit,
True Live BS Nation.
I'll file the LLC tomorrow.
Do it. Done. Give agent have it happen.
Yeah, maybe I could use this degree in software and engineering and stuff like that for something good. Build a ticketing service.
Big goals. I love it.
But yeah.
Extreme windage.
Windage. That we're gonna
Windage
call it.
Nation. Yeah. Hey, it'll blow you away. That'd be a good one. Yeah. Here at Windage Ticket Services, we're gonna blow you away.
We're gonna blow you away, man.
I don't know. I don't know where this goes, but dude, that's a brilliant idea of like eventually I think bands are gonna start banding together and going like after this current social media algorithm market, I feel like people are growing into that, and once that starts to peak, I think bands are going to start to go, you know what? Let's all work together and create our own thing and get this corporate mentality out of here where everything is owned by one thing. I totally forgot that Ticketmaster or Live Nation specifically has owned a lot of these amphitheaters, House of Blues, you name it. Like,
yeah.
Yep.
You know, and then they have a hold on all the arenas.
Yeah.
You know, the Now Arena and United Center, Allstate, you know, it's just like. But I mean, do you kind of have to? Because all of these big arenas, you know, I mean, they're mostly for sports, but yeah, there's too much of one company owning all that stuff. I just,
you know. And the only way to get from out underneath the boot is just do it yourself.
Yeah.
So.
Yep.
Well, I guess as like a final wrap on this is where is Bleeding Sun fit into the whole future of the music industry, and kind of what our outlook and idea of where we would want to go.
Let Ken go first.
I'm staring at these two things on my wall. It says "work hard," and then underneath it says "everything is figure outable." And I think I'm just going to leave it at that because I don't know. I mean, obviously, I want everyone to hear our stuff, and you know, obviously, playing live will happen. We just don't know yet, and you know, there's a lot of stuff to sift through, but. I don't know. I don't know what I mean. I don't know. You guys tell me because
I think
I'm still learning about all this stuff. So
yeah,
I truly like if it's where do I think we're gonna be or what I want out of it are probably two different things. But at the end of the day, I want to make sure that we're doing what we want to do.
Yes.
And it's on our terms, and I don't want anybody trying to come in and try to switch it up. And, you know, certain people will say, oh, well, I'm going to make you big. And then
you're
just stealing. So yeah, I'm enjoying it right now. I'm enjoying it with you guys. I'm learning a lot from you guys. I think as a whole, the three of us, we have pretty good attitudes. There is no weak link with us. I mean, if there is, it's probably me. But, you know, again, I'm learning. So, but yeah, I don't know. I'm going to ride this to the fucking yard. Yeah. Just like the lyric, dude. I mean, it's, That's what it is.
It's intense, man.
Does not sound anything like on the track, but
It's pretty good. I agree with all that, man. I mean, I think for us, it's just being able to stay fluid and adapt to things that change. We got to make sure we kind of keep our you know feeling the pulse of the industry, feeling where it might be going, being able to adapt to that, and maybe looking forward into other avenues of where we could go with that. I'm always all ears. With if anyone ever approaches us about anything, any ideas, any kind. I mean, we'll listen. We're not going to just slam the door on people's faces. We listen to everybody. I know I do.
Yeah.
And we all make make a judgment on what we want to do together, obviously. But we're always willing to listen, be fluid, and just primarily just keep making music and and pushing out good music that people can attack. So.
And not to lose sight of the music, because
That's first.
now with all the technology, like I don't think we touched upon this, but pushing out content. And like if you're like sometimes I'll get too sucked into like, all right, how do I want to, I'm just gonna post this or post that, You don't want all the outside stuff that comes with pushing your own brand get in the way of the whole purpose of why you're doing it. And that's to make music,
Yeah.
And to send a message. So yeah, I don't know. And again with the economy too, that plays a big part in all that, because you do kind of have to pay to play. Right now, our economy is not strong, and nobody really knows where we're headed with that. So it's a waiting game too, and to take a step back and see what other bands are doing, and I don't know what the next step for technology is. So, yeah.
Right. I agree.
What do you think, Gabriel?
I completely agree with what you guys have said. I think the first and foremost the thing is music, and that is going to be obviously our immediate priority. I don't think we're in a position right now to do some of the other things that maybe we've talked about today, and also some of the things that we've talked about privately wanting to do. I think we have aspirations to do stuff like that. I think we have aspirations to, as best we can, fix this thing in whatever
Right.
small way we can do it. And obviously, I mean, we're three guys. We're not going to change the entire music industry. It'd be pretty rad if we did, but I don't think it's going to happen. But I think the immediate thing that we're doing is focusing on the music, but also building a community of musicians. I think that's one of the things that a lot of times maybe can get lost, is that things can seem more like just a competition and that we're fighting against each other, but really, I mean, it's not. I mean, yes, you compete for listening time to with people and what they consume, but it's not realistic to, it's like, well, we want you to listen to 100% of the time Bleeding Sun. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And we don't want
Right.
you to either. We like listening to other bands too. Go listen to the other people. So
Turn our shit off, will you?
Yeah.
don't do it. But
No.
but no, it's like we want to do that and build a community, and that's why we kind of, going into the future, I think probably this year we're gonna have quite a few collabs with other people that are in our sphere, which I think will be really cool to do. And I think that's, I mean, I think when we look at things and think like, what can we change? It's like we look at other areas of like other industries or other things, and it's like, what are they doing well? We also look at like other genres. It's probably more applicable. I mean, I despise rap, but I will give them. I mean, it's community based. There's a lot of features, a lot of crossovers, and they're big events that people like to listen to. I mean,
Country's the same. I mean, country's just like
yeah,
that too.
country, yeah, as well. So I think that's the thing that we're immediately focusing on, because like I said, we're three guys. We can't change it all. I think if we focus on our music, getting that, growing ourselves to a point where we can make some changes, and then while we're doing that, we've also built this nice community to where we have a bunch of other bands, And it's not going to be just like we're going to find other people and be like, hey, you got to, go do this and this all on your own. No, we're going to help out. We're going to share your stuff. We're going to play your stuff. We're going to, and hope that they do the same in return. And we just kind of rise up together. It's
a big issue. Rock scene is it feels like everyone's in their own little goddamn bubble, and it's like those guys suck. It's always a competition where we need to open up to each other and work with each other and build the rock brand, the metal brand up again, because I think that's been lost over the years. There's just too much elitism going on. Their stuff's the best. Everyone else sucks. Maybe have an open mind. And
too much. Yeah, it's too much cutthroat. And I'm Gabriel, I'm glad you mentioned the community thing, because I want everybody to thrive. Whatever thriving means, but there's like we don't have that corporate mentality of like, oh, we're gonna go big, and like it used to be a big dream, and it still can be a dream, but I feel like if everybody just kind of tolerates each other and not just us, but like other bands and stuff, and just encourage. You don't have to like someone else's band, but try to guide them into a direction where someone will, kind of thing.
I honestly don't even want to get that big. I mean, yes, we want to push the music out to as many people, but I honestly, I don't have the desire to go play like football stadiums and whatnot. There's no connection. It's very inhuman.
Yeah.
And
like what Clint said on Discord the other night about, I think someone posted something that, who are these guys? Or a friend was like, do you know these guys or whatever? And I like the fact that they've always been sort of underground, because you show up at the show and like everyone's there to go to church, but then it's like one of your friends that doesn't know them. There's a lot of people that don't know who Seven Dust is, but when you show up to the show, you're like, what's going on? But I love that. I think I like that, and Clint likes that too, because it's been just a kind of a family vibe thing, and not this corporate mentality of,
It is always the worst when a band walks on stage, plays their show, and then walks off stage, gets on the bus, goes to the next city. What's the point?
Yeah.
What is the point?
Just milking the cash cow is all they're doing.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I know they got the VIP stuff. Like, bands have been starting to do that VIP stuff, the meet and greets. But, I mean, if you set your pricing right, you'll make it accessible for multiple fans to come see you, meet. And I think that's a good, not, paying Metallica money. I'm going to pay $7,000 to go say hi to them and sit front row. But, I expect to spend a week with them for $7,000.
Right. Yeah.
But I don't think there's going to be a bigger band than Metallica going forward. And just to touch on you, Gabriel, you said that there's not going to be any monster bands anymore, and that's going to be weird.
Yeah, it's
I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah, I could be wrong. I don't know if I hope I'm wrong though, because I think there's a nice thing in the connection not having this massive monolith of a thing that's just like untouchable.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel real.
Yeah, it used to be a dream for a lot of people to the rock star life and the image of that, and partying and all the women and stuff like that. And that feels like that's just gone.
Well, yeah, I mean, you look at
completely.
Well, yeah, you look at the rock guys, and they're all settled down, married with kids.
Unless you're Steel Panther.
Well, yeah, eating their
satire.
their protein shakes and hitting the gym in the morning. Like
it's turned into the almost blue collar mentality as a rock musician.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just, and I love that because that's who I am.
I do too. I mean. The bands are going to be around longer now.
Yeah. They're not, and people aren't, dying of drug overdoses every other day. Yeah, it's a lot more stability. But
yeah.
anyways, yeah.
I think
Yeah, I think we're gonna do. We're just gonna keep doing what we're doing. Again, the past year has been like how many followers and stuff we. I mean, again, some of that stuff could take years for other people to do.
yeah, and
Yeah.
You
I
know,
think the key
but like,
thing.
and I'm not, and we're this big. We're not even. We're still a speck. So there's probably other bands out there doing the same thing we are. But I'm hoping that as time goes on, there'll be more access to stuff without having to fight through the ad revenue stuff
I
and
think the
all
key
that
thing for us
jazz.
is that it's steady growth.
Yeah.
We weren't going in that we wanted to make some like viral splash with Suffocated and just be this massive arena rock band overnight. It's not what we wanted to do. And
Not.
because I mean it's not sustainable. That's how you become
Yeah.
a one-hit wonder.
Yeah.
We would much rather build it up like we're doing now, build actual real connections with people that listen to our music, and do that. And I think the thing is that like with each release, we've done better. Maybe there's some metrics that our Spotify listens dipped first day or whatever, but overall, you take the average of everything, it keeps building each release. And I
Yeah.
think that's the key thing for us. And eventually that will compound over time. Even if you're making a 1% improvement every single release. I mean, we put enough volume of releases out that it isn't going to take too much for us to, compound that into a good, chunk of, followers, listens, or whatever, and fans, more importantly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. It's been an exciting ride so far, and we're just getting started. So it's
I mean,
can't wait.
we're only a year in, and that year has been I wouldn't even say it hasn't been a full year. I mean, yes, timeline wise we've been together for a year, but it's not like that entire year we've been releasing stuff. Part of it was recording, part of it we just had to take a break.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah.
I think we got a good thing going
And
on.
it's cool that we have the freedom to do that. It's cool that like the pro of the technology is like nobody owns us, so it's not like we're on a timeline. You kind of don't want to take too long of a break, but
No.
yeah, at the end of the day, it's kind of like
and
we took that 4 month thing.
the thing is, it's not like we
between
wanted to
the
take a
last
break.
release.
We didn't want to take a break. We had to.
Yeah.
I mean, life just
Yeah.
got in the way. I mean, we love doing this.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. If I could do this full time
We would.
and make a living, yeah, I'm all over it, man.
Yeah, if
But,
I didn't have to sit and do math for 12 hours a day, I sure as hell would not do math for 12 hours a day.
Are you sure? Are you sure about that? I mean, come on now. We
I
start
think
to do
so.
math core.
But how cool is that the fact that we can still live our lives, like complete our daily lives and then do this? Like
Yeah.
it's kind of cool that we still, because I know you two are a lot busier than I am, but we make it work.
Yeah.
And there's never been like, oh yeah, we put the podcast out for what 6 months, but
All right.
it's not like we were promoting it every week. But yeah, I'm glad that we're able to do this and still complete our our 9 to 5s and your school and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So and family,
Yeah.
So, but as time goes on, hopefully we can. I mean, obviously we'll step up our quality, and that includes more work and all that, and the live stuff. Man, I'm excited to get into jam with you guys again.
Yeah. It's coming up real soon.
Which sooner than later. I'm excited.
Yeah.
I gotta clean the basement a little bit.
That better be spotless by the time we get there.
Yeah. Wax that.
I mean, I don't have much down there. It's just like a lot of crap, like small crap that it's in the corner. I just gotta move.
And just
I'm kidding.
leave it.
I don't care. No.
Well, I want you to be comfortable. That's all.
Well, I'm always comfortable with you, Ken.
Aw.
Comfortable with Ken.
Gabriel's like, you're out of the band.
Every podcast, he's going to say that at least once. All right,
You're all fired.
Yeah.
I'm taking over.
Yeah.
Shit!
You fired. Dude, you think that guy's going to be president again?
No.
I'm not going there. I don't know.
We're moving on swiftly.
I mean, dude, at this point, if you actually turn on the news and like if nobody is on the same page with each other right now, I feel like everybody right now should be like, what the fuck?
That has been the podcast, y'all. Thanks for wrap this thing before we go.
No, come on.
I'm kidding.
No, I know. I don't want people to think that I'm a political. Like, I don't get it into it, but like, man, this balloon thing. Come on. It's just like, what the fuck? Anyway.
Well, I think we've
should
successfully pissed off at least 90% of the music industry.
Hey, man, I didn't side with anybody.
I don't think we're going to be playing any venues anytime soon, unless y'all want to set something up in your backyards. And
what, Brett? You keep your clipping, bro.
Yelling. I'm sorry. I'm excited.
It's fired up.
Me too. Oh, we got to go over what we're listening to.
Oh yeah, I was getting there.
Album of the week or something.
I was getting there.
Got it.
I got my whole process, man. Shut up.
Back to you, Gabriel, and now here we go with the album of the week.
Well, yeah, I guess Ken already
that was my newscaster voice.
Sniped it for me, but yeah, we got an album of the week. So because Ken so rudely interrupted me, Brett, you go first.
Yes. So I'm gonna go with a band. You know, we were talking earlier about bands that pull on different elements for metal. And I've been really digging on Sleep Token, the Summoning, that new single they dropped, which it is going nuts. It's like almost 2 million views on YouTube right now.
Wow, really?
Yeah, it's like in the last week, it was like 1.2 million last week, and now it's like 1.8 or 1.9.
That's crazy.
It's going absolutely insane.
That's awesome.
That is that's one of the strangest songs I've heard. And then the second listen, I was like, cranked it in the car.
Yeah.
And that back half of that song is just...
Oh, it's sexy, man.
Oh, but it works.
Good. I did a video on that, and I blew me away. I did a video on the first two. They put out 2 more. I need to do stuff on those.
Well, it's just, for me, again, it took a couple, 3 listens for me to really get into it. But it makes me, as a musician that writes, make you like, I don't want to write like them per se, but it makes you think like, oh.
It gets you inspired.
Okay. Well, there's some other, there's some things that we could try to do maybe to be a little different on some newer songs down the road.
Take a chance. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah. I mean, just be having an.
I got to say, I mean, I don't want to keep beating the horse. I know this. Ken doesn't like this, but when the next record or whatever it's gonna be with the songs, I think we got some different stuff for sure.
It's gonna be different for sure. Yeah, I think.
Even hearing the demos early on, I think and who knows how they're gonna progress,
yeah.
But I think it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next album's gonna be killer.
Yeah. Faux show. Ken, what do you got for this week?
I was gonna say Sleep Token.
Well, you can't do that now, so.
I know. I mean, I'm not gonna. Here, let me look on my.
We're very professional here.
Always.
Well, I'm just going through my little catalog, and I know I listened to the He Is Legend and all that.
Oh.
The most recent Nothing More record was actually pretty good.
Oh, dude, I was listening to that so much at the end of last year. I got to interrupt you for one moment because we've got a raid from Mix Out 99, raiding with a party of 4, joining in the
Oh
chat.
wait, I know who that is.
Who the hell is it?
Wait.
He's just not gonna answer. But anyway, thank you guys for stopping by. This is the BS. podcast where we
Okay.
talk about a bunch of
Okay. They
BS.
don't want me to say. Do you want me to? Can I name drop you, please, or can I tell them who you are?
What the fuck? Who are you?
I love this person. I work with them.
Oh,
Oh yeah.
awesome.
Hell yeah! Thanks for joining in.
All right. I'm not gonna name drop, but
Well, we thank you for the
she's
promotion.
awesome. She's awesome. I love you. Thank you. I will see you tomorrow.
Yeah, and thank you so much for bringing people in to hear us
Yes.
ramble
Thank
on.
you.
Anyway, sorry. Continue, Ken, with your album of the week.
Yeah.
The Nothing More record. I remember when they first came out. I saw them live. They actually opened for 12-Foot Ninja.
Oh yeah.
Well, 12-Foot Ninja I don't think is their singer left, and I think they're on a hiatus or whatever, which sucks. But
Yep.
I saw them. Dan Donegan from Disturbed was standing right next to me too, and we were talking about
this.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I just their energy, Nothing More's energy, and
Oh man.
I forgot what their first single was, but it had it kind of had a 7-5 to it.
That was at Ballast.
Ballast. Yeah.
Yeah,
Guys are,
Now is the time or something.
Yeah.
yep. This
Yeah.
is the.
I heard that and I was like, okay, and then I kind of lost touch with them for a bit because they got a little industrial and very experimental and stuff. But this last record, I was like,
The last record
okay.
was so good. I listened to that thing like on repeat for at least a month. It also got me into another older song of theirs that was really good. Fade In, Fade Out from their second
God.
record. I love that song and the story behind it.
One of my-
It's a powerful tune.
Yeah.
They're like their live show now and like all of the like they're nuts.
Yeah.
But they're selling out. They're selling out crowds and stuff, and I'm happy for them there. And I think Clint wrote with them a little bit too.
Yeah. On that.
He helped write for one of the records.
Yeah.
They did a
So
couple.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
an awesome.
I mean,
and Johnny Hawkins
Yeah.
vocals, man, unreal.
Man.
who's their bass player? Was it who they do backup vocals too? He's phenomenal
Yeah.
too. Then to singing, they did an acoustic version of "Now Is the Time" on Sirius XM. If you
Yep.
Okay.
I've seen that.
the way he was like manipulating his voice and like he would, I just thought like you don't see anybody doing that. And I remember seeing that a couple years back, and like even in an acoustic setting, they could just kill it. And the way they manipulate their sounds and all that, they're fresh. They always were like, wow, this is fresh.
Yeah.
Great.
So that's what I'm in.
Okay. And for my album of the week, I just saw them last night. I'm gonna have to pick of Beauty and Rage from Red. I absolutely love Red. I just got onto them last year. And that album, I believe it's a concept record. It's at least one of those albums that kind of flows every song into the next. It's so good. There's a lot of really, really great songs on there. I mean, the most important thing that gets me is that there's just a ton of hooks in there, and it just really grabs you and makes you want to listen to more. And the standout track for me has got to be Yours Again. Love the lyrics on that. And yeah, I've been listening to that among their other records too, but if I had to pick one, that's the one for me.
Heck yeah. Great band.
Yeah. I'm excited for their new record. I can't wait to see what they do, because I know a lot of people didn't like the last one, but I really like that record. I've listened to front to back. There's only one song I skip. I don't really like, but other than that,
Which record?
the Declaration, the new one, or latest.
I thought they came out swinging with that. Because I always knew they had it in them to do like the heavy stuff, but the like Feed the Machine, but like their second album, their second album is when they really stepped up their production, and it kind of reminds me of like our stuff. It's got thick, it's kind of creamy, and um,
Creamy.
I actually kind of stopped listening to them when Beauty and Rage came out.
Oh,
I just their sound got like they went from sounding so massive, and then their production changed, and then I'm like,
it's still
but
massive, but
then
it's more that record's more orchestral for sure. It's more
Yeah.
grandiose,
yeah,
more I would say cinematic would be the descriptor I would use for it. It's definitely its own thing. It's not like Declaration or Until We Have Faces. Those are definitely like heavy. I love Until We Have Faces. I mean, anytime I want to
My
get
favorite album.
like anytime I want to get amped up for like an assignment or if I need to get somewhere fast, Feed the Machine. Just throw that sucker on and just fly.
Oh,
I saw that live,
yeah.
and they had like these crazy like smoke machines and stuff, and it was like,
Yeah, that and Faceless, the second track from that album.
yeah,
Such a great.
that was
I'm not myself. Like such a great hook.
Oh man, he can make a hook a mile long. I tell you what.
dude. When that album came out, they played on Conan O'Brien.
Yeah.
Oh,
They peaked. That was their peaked like
yeah.
album. They were officially, because again, I told you guys recently I saw them open up for Seven Dust on the Alpha tour in like 2007. With Breathe Into Me, and I was like, okay, it's like it sounds kind of Linkin Park. You know what it reminded me of? I remember seeing them first live and then going to my buddy. They sound like the male version of Evanescence, but like
Yeah.
not cheesy or not too commercial. But
Right.
yeah,
I can see it.
they're cool.
Yeah, I really like that band. That killer lineup for that show that I saw last night. Red Mammoth, Alter Bridge. Doesn't get better than that.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
Love it.
good shit.
All right, y'all. What do you say we Ooh, do we want to drop an exclusive announcement about the
What
next
do you have in
the
mind?
next track for people
You
who've
can
been listening?
drop
Want
it.
to do it? Man,
Hot.
we have.
When do you guys do it?
All right. We have a new track coming out February 24th. It's called Heavy and Heavy. And it's
Bless you.
thank you. It's heavy.
It's friggin' heavy.
It is probably out of all of our tracks that we recorded for this first record, my favorite to play. It is. And I recorded the performance video for it this weekend while I was at home. I had a lot of fun doing that.
I still gotta.
I abused the shit out of my B string with that, the riff. So there's
Beating on the beam,
yeah.
man.
So there's a spoiler. The song's in B. Make of that what you will. But
Pretty heavy.
Brett, we got a special person on the song.
We do have a special person. Should we announce him?
That's up to you.
What do you think, Ken? Should we? Fuck it. Let's go ahead.
No. What am I gonna say? No. Yeah.
So our good friend from clear down in sunny Florida is hopping on this one with us and doing a little guitar. Wheedly diddly dee. Landon Stevens, he's a hell of a guitar player, friend of ours. He hopped on and did the solo for this one. So it's gonna be fun.
It fucking rips. It's
Yeah.
just
It's
the whole song is just
yeah.
I'm not trying to get ahead of myself or anything, but like I think Tryptophan, that's still getting like
Oh
traction.
yeah, that's going up.
But this one, I think, will probably do just as good, if not better.
I think it'll do better just from the fact that we've been putting out stuff steady for the past month, content-wise, that people are like going to be reminded, like, we're still a thing, we're still around, still making things.
Giving them
yeah.
It's a high energy song.
Yeah, for sure.
What'd you do? What the hell are you doing, Brett? What'd you do?
Give them the double pow. The pow, 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 pow. Yeah, exactly.
Oh man.
Oh, sorry. I apologize.
So yeah, that's coming out February 24th.
I didn't even know it was coming out that day. I didn't.
God damn it, Ken.
Come on, man. And
we didn't send the group chat, the group text.
We did.
Did it?
We definitely did. We also talked about this on multiple Skype calls.
I love you, man.
I honestly forgot. I'm not drinking.
Not right now.
What's in the Canada Dry, Ken?
Canada Dry.
You sure?
I got some green
smart ass.
Green tea right here.
That looks like piss.
And Chippewa spring water.
It's good for the.
No,
warms up the vocal cords.
Now you're making me sound like a Southside Polak drunk.
I'm drinking urine right here, basically, is what it looks like. So.
Yeah, well, you're in trouble.
You're in trouble, sir. Okay, we're getting off.
No, I'm sorry.
We're done.
I genuinely forgot. I haven't been looking at the date at all. I've been like January flew by, like Christmas came and went, and then January just flew by.
It's busting your chops, man. That's coming out February 24th, along with the slew of content that we normally do. We got videos coming out for Tryptophan still, and we have an acoustic version of it coming out Thursday.
See if it gets pushed through.
Yeah, we'll see if it actually makes it. But
this will be
in theory, it'll be out Thursday on streaming platforms, and a video will follow whenever we decide to record it.
Industry problems.
See how fast Distro Kid can kick it out here.
I think when we did Hopeless Acoustic, it was 3 days. I think they got out.
Was it 3 days?
They got out in 3 days. So.
To most platforms, it gets out there. But yeah, that's awesome.
We'll see. But thank you guys so much for tuning in live. Thank you guys for all the people who are on YouTube tuning in to the BS Podcast. We are here every other week, Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 Central, 5 Mountain, 4 Pacific, and
3 Hawaiian. Or 2.
I think it's 2 Hawaiian. 2 Hawaiian and 1 o'clock UK, 1 a.m. on a Monday. I think we covered it all.
Yeah. And if you see the Chinese balloon, it may be streaming up there too. Who knows?
Yep. But yeah, that is the podcast.
Have you guys seen the memes with this,
yeah.
balloon?
Oh yeah,
it's hilarious. Sorry. Okay.
But yeah, I'm Gabriel Metzger, Ken Reel, Brett Dahlman. Till next time, signing off.
Yeah.